The Integrated Seed Sector Development (ISSD Plus) project's vegetable component aims at contributing to the increased competitiveness of the vegetable sector actors through promoting the use of superior date seed varieties and equipping vegetable producers with skills and knowledge for good agronomic practices in nursery management, fertilization and soil moisture conservation, crop protection and backyard farming for higher production and productivity. This video will showcase methods of utilizing backyard or compound space for farming purposes.
Backyard farming is the growing of crops in the backyard or in the compound. And backyard farming has a lot of benefits. Some of the benefits are income generation, food nutrition, security, beautifying the environment, exercising, use of the would-be used up material like old tires, and so many other advantages. There are many techniques that can be employed in the backyard farming. However, these techniques, there are a lot of factors you have to consider to choose a technique to use in backyard farming. Such things you have to consider is the size of your backyard. If the backyard is small, you go for techniques that require smaller space, like hanging baskets and sucker gardens. If the backyard is big, you can go for food tower, mandala gardens, and tire gardens. Also, you have to consider the size of the crop. For bigger crops, you go for techniques like food towers, you go for mandala gardens and sucker gardens. Whereas for smaller crops, you can use hanging baskets. Then another factor you can consider is, other than providing nutrients, is beauty. So if you need beauty in your compound, you can go for techniques like mandala gardens, you can go for tire gardens, and also food tower. This is what we call the food tower. The food tower can accommodate over 150 crops. So if you have a bigger space in your backyard, you can use this for growing crops. For food tower, when you construct it, we need material like stones, we need eucalyptus trees, we need wire mesh, and we need soil. So the inner circle is just 1 feet, and the outer circle is 2.5 feet. So after putting these eucalyptus trees in the middle of the inner circle, then you add the stones until when it's full. Then you construct the outer circle and you add the soil. After adding soil, you add water until it's wet, and then you plant your crops. We have different crops here. We have spinach, we have skuma week, and we have meat and leeks. So it can accommodate over 150 crops, and you can keep on harvesting on it for 7 months. These are what we call the tire gardens. The tire gardens, we use tires that are old, and we use them for growing crops. In the tires, we construct a structure that is going to provide a frame and holding of the tires. Then after constructing the structure is made up of eucalyptus trees. If you have metals, you can also use metals. Then you press your tire properly, and then you add the soil. And you make sure that in your soil, you add manure. Manure can be cow dung or chicken litter. Then after that, you add green mulches to ensure that there is minimal loss of water. From there, you have already selected your crop, and in this case I have spinach, and I have skuma week, and I also have lettuce. So you plant them at a reasonable spacing, and you keep on taking care of them like any crop in the garden. Then after that, it will provide with you good vegetables throughout the season. So this is how we construct a tire garden. This is called the mandala garden, and it's one of the techniques we use in backyard farming, especially where you have a bit of a bigger space. With the mandala gardens, you design it in such a way that it brings out the beauty, and also it also helps us in the nutritional bit of it. You use crops as the flowers in the garden, but with the objective of harvesting them and use them for food. For example, where I'm standing here, we have different crops. We have kohlrabi here, we have skuma wiki there, we have lettuce there, and you have spinach here. If you look at this space, it looks beautiful to the eyes, but at the same time, these crops are edible. You can harvest them and use them as food. And by there, they solve the problem of food nutrition at the same time having a beautiful compound at your place. That's the objective of the mandala gardens. This is what we call a sucker garden. A sucker garden is one of the techniques that we use in backyard farming. And with the sucker gardens, the materials you need to prepare your garden include the tin to provide the column where you put the stones. You need the stones, you need the soil which has been incorporated with the manure, and you need the sack that acts as your garden. So you prepare your ground properly after removing all the debris down, and you level it properly. Then you put your sack, which you have already cut at the base, so that you can add the soil properly. Then from there, you start putting the middle column first. The middle column is composed of stones. So you keep on piling stones as you move the tin up. Then after that, you add the soil, which is going to be your growing media. From there, after the soil has reached the top, then you make holes. Get a sharp knife or a razor blade, you make holes where you will plant your crops. And after making holes, then you water properly. After watering, and you see that yes, my growing media is full of water, now I can provide the water to the plants, you do the planting. You put one plant per hole, one plant per hole, one plant per hole, as you space them so that they are not squeezed. And after that, you start taking care of your garden on the daily basis. You keep on spotting for pests or diseases or any need for water, and you add if need be. That's how we maintain our sucker garden.